Hi all, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are not going to discuss a concept specific to any particular service, right? So we are going to discuss a common use case, right? So first of all, we'll try to understand that use case and then we'll move on to the demo, okay? For example, let's say you have a Google Sheet and there we are maintaining some data, right, and we have to load the data into BigQuery on periodic basis, right, and we have already seen some other use cases where, right, if we have a data in a Google Cloud Sheet, so by using this BigQuery external table concept, you can query the data, okay. So actually in that use case, you are not going to load the data into BigQuery table, rather you will be just the data will be resides in the Google Sheet itself, but still you can query that data using our BigQuery API, right. So but here in this use case, if you have to load the data periodically into BigQuery on schedule basis, then this is going to help a lot, okay. So in this use case, right, so we are going to use Cloud Functions and Cloud Scheduler and BigQuery table together to implement this functionality. I hope this is clear, okay. I like to discuss there are two approaches we are going to demo, right, in this video. The first approach, for example, let's say you have a data in publicly shared sheets, right. So in that case, directly what we can do, we'll create a cloud function, right. So in the cloud function, we are going to write a code where it will read data from publicly shared sheet, and using Pandas and BigQuery API, we are going to load the data into BigQuery. So with this approach, do you see any issue? Okay, yeah, there is an issue, right? Since your sheets are publicly shared, right, this is not recommended for production system. For educational and learning purpose, you can follow this approach, but I won't recommend you to use this for production system because the sheet is publicly shared and it is insecure, okay. I mean the data is insecure, right. Then in the second approach, we are going to discuss how to load private sheet data into BigQuery, okay. Actually we are going to use a different approach over here. So what we will do, we are not going to use our individual credential to read private sheets data. Instead what we can do, we are going to use a service account, Google Cloud service account, okay. Usually whenever you create a Google Cloud function, right, by default, if you don't associate any other service account, it will by default use Compute Engine service account, okay. So we'll try to use that service account, okay. We'll try to create keys for that service account and we'll store that keys into some secure place, okay, and we'll authenticate that service account inside our Google Cloud function code, and then we'll read this sheet data, okay. So anyway, that service account will be shared with editor permission on top of this Google Sheet, okay. Then finally we will load the data into BigQuery table, okay. I hope this is clear, and this is most secure way to load data into BigQuery table using service account, okay, and this is recommended for production system as well, okay. And one more thing I would like to discuss, why you have to use this approach, right. So because if you have a requirement to periodically load data from Google Sheets to the BigQuery, and if you have to perform certain transformation while loading data into BigQuery, so whether it can be an incremental load, whether it can be a full load based on your requirement, you can use this approach, okay. I hope it is clear. Now we'll move on to the demo slide, okay. In the first case, as I already discussed, so from the publicly available sheet, you will directly load data into BigQuery using Cloud Function. Inside the Cloud Function, you are going to use the Python code which uses the Pandas and BigQuery API, okay. This is simple and direct, okay. So in the second case, it is a secured way where you will load private sheets using service account, okay. So here we are going to use Compute Engine service account. So we will create keys for it, that means credentials, in the form of JSON file, and we will store those keys into some secured GCP service, that is Secret Manager. I've already done video on this concept, that is Secret Manager. You can go and check my playlist in my channel. Please, I would recommend you to go through this video, then you can watch this video, okay. So then in the Cloud Functions code, we are going to write a Python logic. So we will try to use Secret Manager Python client libraries to download that secret. That means service account credentials into this code, and we'll authenticate the service account, and then we'll load the data into BigQuery using again Pandas and BigQuery API. Okay. Finally, we are going to schedule this entire pipeline using Cloud Scheduler to run it on scheduled time intervals. I hope this is clear. We'll quickly move on to the demo. Okay, so now let us examine our input data, that is Google Sheets. So now I have created two simple Google Sheet. So one is publicly shared and one is completely private. Okay. So if you see this fruits sheet, this is publicly shared. If you go to this share, right, and and here you can see this is shared with public. Okay, anyone with this link can access this sheet. Okay, now if you go to the other sheet here, if you see, right, so this is completely owned by me, and it is not been shared with any other user. Okay, so now we'll try to use this sheet and we'll try to upload this data into BigQuery using Cloud Function. Okay, so for that, so I have this code already. So this is the code. I'll try to explain you high level. So this is an HTTP function which we are going to create using Cloud Function. So simple. So we need sheet ID. Okay, so actually this is the sheet ID over here, from here to here. Okay, and also sheet name over here. This is a sheet name. Once I have those details, so we can read these sheet details using this URL. Okay, into a Pandas data frame. Okay, so by using this GBQ, that is Pandas GBQ module, we can directly write the data into our Google Cloud BigQuery. Okay, so this is a simple code, directly read data from sheet and then upload it into a BigQuery table. Okay, so this is a code which we are going to use in our first Cloud Function which we are going to create. Okay, so now go to our Google Cloud platform. So Cloud Functions. So here what I'll do, I'll create function. Okay, so I'll use second generation function PQ. This is my function name. So you have to select the region, use Asia South as my region, and allow unauthenticated invocation. Okay, that's okay, right? Anyway, this is demo. Now here I can limit this auto scaling up to 4 instances. Okay, now click on next. So we need Python runtime. Okay, this one. Now you have to specify the dependencies to be installed while you execute this function, right? For that we are using all this, right? Pandas. So now it is clear. We have the code and we have the dependencies defined over here. Now you can deploy this function. Okay, just examine, this is the same sheet ID which we have over here, right? This one. Okay, from here to here, right? So now it will take some time to deploy this function. So once it is deployed, then we will try to execute this function and we'll see if this data is getting loaded into BigQuery or not. Okay, now you can see this function has been deployed successfully. Now you can go to this section, trigger section, right? You can see the source as well. So yeah, this is a code which we have which we are using. Okay, so I think these dependencies have been successfully installed. Now go to the trigger section. So this is our HTTPS endpoint URL. Just click on that URL, then this will be executed. Okay. Yeah, now you can see function executed successfully, right? Now what we can do, go back to your function, just click on these logs. As I already told, for logs and monitoring, so that Google Cloud logging API is already integrated with Google Cloud Functions and Cloud Scheduler and all other services. Okay, click on logs. Okay, so now you can see data loaded successfully, right? Now what we can do, we can go to the BigQuery environment. So we'll try to see if this table has been created or not. Okay, this is the table. So this is the data set. You can see this is the data set and this is the table. Now you can see this table has been created. Just click on this table. Now you can see the preview of the data. So this is the data we have over here, right? The same data has been loaded into BigQuery table, right? This is a simple way where if you have your sheet shared publicly, but this is not recommended for your production systems, right? So okay, for learning and for educational purpose, this is a simple way to learn. We'll see the second approach where we'll try to use the service account and secret manager and everything, and we'll try to implement this functionality. Okay, so first what I will do, I'll go to the second sheet. Okay, so here, so if you go to these details, you can see, so whatever the cloud function you are going to create over here, that is using this service account by default. If you want, you can create your own service account and you can associate that service account with this cloud function, but here I don't want to do that. Let me use this default Compute Engine service account. Okay, so what I'll do, I will share this private sheet with this service account. Okay, because cloud function is using that service account. Okay, that code should be able to read this sheet, right, to that service account. So yeah, let me give editor access. That's okay. Now we have the service account. Okay, it should be able to read the data from this sheet. So only I can read that, and else this service account can read the data from this sheet. No other user will be able to read the data from this sheet. Okay, so now it's clear. So go to the IAM. Okay, so go to your service account. So go to the service account console. Now here we have two service account. One is this default Compute Engine service account, and click on this. Here we have to generate the keys, because using these keys and credentials, so this service account will be authenticated by our cloud function code. There in the code we are using spreadsheet and pandas related Python APIs. So in order to authenticate this service account, those APIs require this service account credentials. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll create a key. Click on this new key. You can go for JSON over here. Create. So then that key will be downloaded to my local machine. Okay, close. Now this is the key. It is being downloaded into my local machine. Now I have to upload this key into my secret manager. Okay, this is the secret manager. Now we'll have to create a secret. Okay, this is my secret name. So I've already explained this in my secret manager video already, right? Just go through that video before coming to this video. Okay, so now I'll upload those credentials over here. This is my, okay, now you can see how it look like. Okay, so everything remains same. Just click on create secret. Okay, so now this secret has been created. Now go to IAM. This is our default Compute Engine service account. Okay, now this has the editor role, right? But it has to download the secret value from secret manager. For that it required an additional permission. So this is the permission actually. Secret manager secret accessor. Otherwise it will not be able to download those details into our cloud function code. Okay, now save. Now we'll try to understand the code. Okay, so here the same function which we are going to use, that is HTTPS function, which we are going to create, right? But only thing we are doing, So using this secret manager Python client libraries, right, we are going to first download those details, right, into some Python local variable. Okay, this is the variable. Okay, so I've already explained all these details about these client libraries in my secret manager video. That's why I'm strongly recommending you to go through that video before watching this video. Okay, so now this is my project ID and this is my secret name and version 1 anyway. So using this client, I'm going to download those details into local variable. So it will be in a string format. In order to change that to a JSON format, okay, so you'll have to use this JSON load function. Okay, now so it is using two APIs actually, right? One is this Google Drive API. Okay, here you can see Drive API and also Spreadsheet API. So you have to make sure these two APIs are enabled or not in your Google Cloud project. If not enabled, you will have to enable. For that, what you can do, you can go to Google Cloud Console, come over here, click on this API and services. Okay, so here you can type, right? One is sheet. Okay, Google Sheet. Click on this. Since it is already enabled in my project, you don't have to do that. Otherwise, it will ask you to enable. Here you will find a button with enable option. Okay, so like that, one more API is Drive. Just type Drive. Okay, so Google Drive API. This is the API which you have to see. This is also enabled in my project. So if it is not enabled, you have to enable. Otherwise, you will get an error when you execute that function. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now you can see we are using this GSpread pandas. This is one of the Python module. So this is basically to read data from Google Cloud spreadsheets. Okay, so here itself you can see it is again it required Google Cloud sheet ID. So you can find this detail over here. Now we are using private sheet. So this is the sheet ID from here to here. This is the sheet ID which we are going to use over here. Now in the config you are using credentials. Actually these are the credentials belong to our service account which we have already downloaded over here. Okay, then we'll read that details into data frame, then write those details into Google Cloud BigQuery table using this BigQuery pandas API. Okay, 2GBQ. Okay, so this is the API which we are going to use. Okay, now it will write the data into this table. Okay, service account sheet to BQ. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now I am going to create a function, one more function, and I am going to deploy this code into that function. Okay, so let's go to the cloud function again. So create function, select second generation, EQ, region, okay, next I'll select only 5 instances, click next. So your environment is Python. Okay, so main py, copy paste this code, right? In the requirement you will have to install all these dependencies. Okay, you are using secret manager, pandas, GSpread pandas and pandas GPQ, right? So you need all those in the dependency installables. Okay, now click on deploy. Okay, now you can see this function has been successfully deployed. Now we can go to the source once. So this is the same code and requirements. Okay, now you can go to the trigger section. So this is the HTTPS endpoint URL. So what we'll do, instead of executing this from this environment, so we'll try to schedule it through Cloud Scheduler, and then we'll try to trigger this function from the Cloud Scheduler. Okay, so for that we'll go to the Cloud Scheduler. So create job name Q. This is the job name, and let us select the same region. So frequency, you can go for some frequency. So okay, so that is at 9 a.m. every Monday. Okay, so time zone, select India time zone. Okay, now click on continue. So here this is important. If you go back to our cloud function, so it has the HTTP URL as in its endpoint. Okay, now we'll have to select the same thing over here. HTTP target type should be HTTP. Okay, now we need to copy paste the URL from the cloud function. So just copy this URL. Okay, paste this. Okay, let this HTTP method be post. Okay, leave everything as it is. Okay, click on continue. Okay, just click on create. Okay, now we have scheduled this pipeline. Okay, so now it has to, once you successfully run this pipeline, it has to create this table. Okay, that is a sheet to BQ. Okay, now go back to your BigQuery. Let's see, refresh this page. We have only this table which is created as part of our earlier cloud function execution. Right now, just come over here, click on force run, so that this will trigger our cloud function. Go back to your cloud function logs. You should see logs related to this activity. Okay, data loaded successfully. Okay, now go back to your BigQuery. Now you should see two tables. Okay, this is our latest table. Click on preview. So this is the data we have over here. Okay, loaded into BigQuery. Okay, okay, this is a simple use case. This is basically a direct one-to-one loading actually. So if you want, if you like to perform any transformation, right, so on top of this data, you can definitely do that, and you can implement that logic over here in the function code. Okay, so I hope this is clear and this will help you a lot. Okay, so that's it for this video. We will meet in the next video. Thank you. Thanks for watching.